The arrival. The letter arrived on a Tuesday, unremarkable except for the crisp, almost sterile quality of the envelope. Ethan Carver, 34, single, and a creature of habit, retrieved it from his mailbox alongside bills and junk mail. The handwriting was his own, slanted, slightly hurried, but the postmark read May 18th, 2035, 10 years from now. He tore it open, half expecting a prank. Ethan, do not attend the gala at the Meridian Hotel on May 21st, 2025. If you do, everything you love will be lost. Trust me. Ethan, he read it twice, then laughed. A practical joke, surely. His brother, Nate, was always pulling stunts like this. But the paper felt strange, too smooth, almost synthetic, and the ink shimmered faintly under the light. Ethan set it on his kitchen counter, intending to call Nate later, but the words lingered like a bad dream. By evening, curiosity gnawed at him. The Meridian Gala was a high-profile charity event, one Ethan had RSVP'd to weeks ago as a favour to his boss, Claire, who organised it. It was a networking bore, but harmless. Why would his future self care? He Googled the event, the hotel, even time travel scams. Nothing unusual. Then he noticed the letter's envelope again. No return address, but the postmark was local, Seattle, Washington. If it was a prank, someone went to serious trouble. Chapter 2. The investigation. The next morning, Ethan took the letter to a friend, Priya, a forensic analyst at the Seattle Police Department. "Humour me," he said, sliding the envelope across her desk. Priya raised an eyebrow but agreed to run some tests. While she worked, Ethan hit the library, digging into anything that might explain the letter. Time travel was science fiction, but he found articles on quantum physics, wormholes, and fringe experiments. Nothing concrete, just theories that made his head spin. Priya called that afternoon. "This is weird," she said. "The paper's composition doesn't match anything in our database. It's not from any known manufacturer. The ink, too. There's a compound in it we can't identify. And the postmark? It's genuine, Ethan. As far as I can tell, this was mailed from Seattle in 2035. "That's impossible." "Obviously," Priya said, "but I don't know how someone could fake this. You sure Nate's not screwing with you?" Ethan wasn't sure of anything anymore. That night, he called the Meridian Hotel, fishing for details about the gala. The manager mentioned a last-minute guest, Dr. Eleanor Voss, a physicist known for her work on temporal mechanics. Ethan's skin prickled. Temporal mechanics? Time travel? Chapter 3. The Society Ethan tracked down Dr. Voss at a university lecture the next day. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed and guarded. He cornered her after the talk, holding up the letter. "I got this. It says it's from me 10 years from now. You know anything about it?" Voss's expression flickered. Recognition, maybe fear. "Walk away, Mr. Carver," she said quietly. "Some things you're better off not knowing." But Ethan pressed, and she relented, meeting him at a coffee shop an hour later. She spoke in hushed tones about the Order of Kronos, a secret society founded decades ago by scientists obsessed with preventing global catastrophes. They'd cracked time manipulation, not travel, but communication. "We can send messages back," Voss said. "Short bursts, one way. It's how we warn people to avert disasters, but it's fragile. Every message risks fracturing the timeline." Ethan's letter, she confirmed, was likely real. The Order used a device called the chronospool to send warnings, but only a few knew how to operate it, and fewer still had access. "If you got that letter," Voss said, "someone in 2035 thinks the gala is a pivot point, but you're not the only one." Chapter 4. The other letter Voss's words haunted Ethan. Someone else has received a letter too. The next day, he tailed Claire, his boss, to the gala's planning meeting. She seemed nervous, clutching a small envelope identical to his. When he confronted her, she broke down. "I got one too," she whispered. "It told me to ensure the gala happens, that it's critical for the future." Ethan's blood ran cold. 2 letters, 2 conflicting instructions. His said to avoid the gala, hers said to make it happen. Someone, or something, was playing a game with time. Voss had warned that the chronospool could be misused. If the wrong person accessed it, they could rewrite history for their own gain. With the gala hours away, Ethan had a choice. Trust the letter and skip the event, or attend and uncover who else was pulling the strings. He thought of his sister, his friends, his quiet life, everything he loved. Then he thought of Claire, driven by her own letter, and the shadowy Order manipulating it all. Chapter 5. The gala Ethan went to the Meridian. The ballroom glittered with Seattle's elite, but he felt like a pawn in a chess game he didn't understand. Claire was there, radiant but tense, checking her watch. Voss arrived too, slipping Ethan a note. "Find the spool. Destroy it." Halfway through the night, a man Ethan didn't recognize, a gaunt figure with cold eyes, approached Claire. They argued in whispers, and Ethan caught the word chrono. He followed them to a back room where the man revealed a device, a sleek, humming cylinder, the chrono spool. Before Ethan could act, alarms blared. The room shook, a gas explosion, the news later called it. Ethan barely escaped, the spool's fate unknown. Claire vanished in the chaos. Days later, Voss was gone too, her lab empty. The letter remained Ethan's only proof, but its warning had saved him, or had it? As weeks passed, Ethan noticed changes. His sister's house was different. Nate didn't remember their last talk. The world felt off. Another letter arrived, dated 2036. You stopped the gala, but they're still out there. Find the order, Ethan, before they find you. Chapter 6. The fractured path. Ethan stared at the new letter, its edges as unnaturally smooth as the first. The postmark read May 22nd, 2036, and the words burned into his mind. You stopped the gala, but they're still out there. Find the order, Ethan, before they find you. His apartment felt smaller, the walls closing in as the weight of the message settled. The gala's explosion had been no accident, and the chronospool, or whatever powered it, was still active. Someone was rewriting time, and Ethan was caught in the ripples. He hadn't slept properly since the gala 3 weeks ago. The news called it a freak gas leak, but Ethan knew better. Claire's disappearance gnawed at him. She'd been his friend, his boss, and now a mystery. Had her letter driven her to trigger the explosion? Or was she a victim, like him? Dr. Voss's vanishing act was just as troubling. Her lab at the university was stripped bare, as if she'd never existed. Ethan had tried calling her, emailing, even visiting her last known address, a boarded-up townhouse with no signs of life. The Order of Kronos was a ghost, and Ethan was chasing shadows. But the new letter changed everything. It wasn't just a warning, it was a call to action. Find the order. He had no idea where to start, but the subtle shifts in his world pushed him forward. His sister Lila had a new job she'd never mentioned before. His favourite coffee shop was now a laundromat. Small, disorienting changes that no one else seemed to notice. The timeline was unravelling, and Ethan felt like the only one seeing the seams. He started with the only lead he had, the Meridian Hotel. Returning to the site felt reckless, but he needed answers. The ballroom was cordoned off, still under investigation, but Ethan charmed a janitor into letting him poke around the service corridors. In a maintenance room, he found something the authorities had missed, a scorched fragment of metal etched with a symbol, a spiral intersected by 3 lines. It matched a doodle Voss had scribbled on her note to him. The chronospool, or part of it, had been here. Back home, Ethan scoured the internet for the symbol. It appeared in obscure forums, buried in discussions about quantum anomalies and conspiracy theories. One post, from an anonymous user named Tempus Fugit, mentioned a defunct research facility outside Seattle, abandoned since the 1990s. The poster claimed it was a hub for temporal experiments before it shut down. Ethan cross-referenced the address, a place called Blackthorn Labs, 30 miles north. It was a long shot, but it was all he had. The next morning, Ethan drove to Blackthorn. The facility was a husk, rusted gates, shattered windows, and vines choking the concrete. He slipped through a gap in the fence, his flashlight cutting through the dusk. Inside, the air was thick with dust and the faint hum of something alive, like a distant generator. He followed the sound to a basement level, where he found a steel door, improbably new, locked with a biometric scanner. This wasn't abandoned. Before he could retreat, footsteps echoed behind him. Ethan ducked behind a crate, heart pounding. 2 figures entered, a woman with a clipped voice and the gaunt man from the gala. His cold eyes scanned the room as the woman spoke. The spool's secure, but Carver's a problem. He's asking questions. He's a nobody, the man said. The timeline's already shifting in our favour. One more message, and he's neutralised. Ethan's blood ran cold. They knew about him. Worse, they were planning another letter. He waited until they left, then examined the door. No way in without a scan, but he noticed a faint inscription near the lock, Chronos Eterna, the Order's calling card. Driving home, Ethan's mind raced. The Order was still active, manipulating time to suit their agenda. But whose agenda? The gaunt man's words suggested a faction within the Order, one that didn't care about preventing catastrophes, but about controlling the future. And Claire, where did she fit? Her letter had pushed her to ensure the gala happened, but why? Porn or something more? At his apartment, Ethan found the door ajar. Inside, his desk was ransacked, the 2035 letter gone. But the new one, from 2036, was still in his jacket. He hid it in a floorboard, then called Priya. "I need a favour," he said. "Can you trace a symbol and maybe hack a biometric lock?" Priya groaned, but agreed to meet him. Ethan knew he was in over his head, but the letters weren't just warnings anymore, they were a map. The order was out there, reshaping time, and Ethan was their loose end. He had to find Blackthorn's secrets before they found him. But as he hung up, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Stop digging, Ethan, or Lila pays the price." Chapter 7. The end of time. Ethan's hands shook as he read the text again. "Stop digging, Ethan, or Lila pays the price." The threat to his sister was a knife to his heart, but it also confirmed he was close, too close for the order of Kronos to ignore. Blackthorn Labs held answers, and Ethan couldn't stop now, not when the timeline was fracturing around him. He called Lila, urging her to stay with a friend for a few days. She protested, sensing his panic, but agreed. Ethan then met Priya at a diner, sliding the scorched metal fragment with the Kronos symbol across the table. "This is insane," Priya said, examining it under a magnifying app on her phone. "But I can try cracking that biometric lock. I've got a contact who owes me. Ex-NSA, does freelance cyber work. What are we walking into, Ethan?" "Something bigger than us," he admitted, showing her the 2036 letter. Priya's eyes widened, but she didn't argue. They planned to hit Blackthorn that night, armed with her contact's hacked scanner bypass and Ethan's desperate resolve. Under cover of darkness, they returned to the lab. The air was colder now, the hum from the basement louder like a heartbeat. Priya worked the biometric lock, her device whirring as it mimicked a fingerprint. The steel door clicked open, revealing a sterile chamber lit by blue LEDs. At its center stood the chronospool, a sleek cylinder pulsing with energy, its surface etched with the same spiral and line symbol. Holographic displays flickered around it, showing dates, names, and events. Ethan spotted his own name, linked to the gala and Claire's, tied to a string of numbers he didn't understand. Before they could investigate, the gaunt man from the gala appeared, flanked by the woman Ethan had overheard. "You're persistent, Carver," the man said, his voice like gravel. "But you're too late." He held a device, a smaller version of the spool, and aimed it at Ethan. "One pulse, and you're erased from this timeline." Priya lunged, knocking the device from his hand. A scuffle broke out, Ethan tackling the woman as she reached for a control panel. The spool hummed louder, its displays glitching. In the chaos, Ethan saw Claire, alive, dishevelled, emerging from a side door. "Ethan, stop them!" she screamed. "They're rewriting everything." The gaunt man laughed. "She's one of us, Carver. Her letter was ours. The gala was meant to fail, to shift power to the Order's chosen future." He gestured to the spool. "This is the last step. A new timeline where we control it all." Claire grabbed Ethan's arm. "I didn't know," she whispered. "They tricked me, but I sent the 2036 letter. I'm in their future, Ethan. Trapped. You have to destroy the spool." Ethan hesitated, the weight of her words sinking in. The gaunt man lunged for the device, but Priya was faster, smashing it against the floor. The spool's hum became a wail, light strobing wildly. Ethan grabbed a metal pipe and swung at the spool, cracking its casing. Sparks flew, and the room shook as if reality itself was tearing. "Get out!" Claire shouted, shoving Ethan and Priya toward the door. The gaunt man tackled her, and in the chaos, Ethan saw her slam a switch on the spool. A blinding flash erupted, and the world went silent. When Ethan's vision cleared, he was outside Blackthorn, Priya beside him, the lab a smouldering ruin. No sign of Claire, the gaunt man, or the woman. The air felt normal again. His phone buzzed, Lila texting about dinner plans as if nothing had happened. The timeline had reset or stabilized, but at what cost? Days later, Ethan found no trace of the Order, Blackthorn, or the spool. The Meridian explosion was still blamed on a gas leak. Priya swore she'd never speak of it, and Ethan burned the 2036 letter. But late at night, he wondered about Claire, trapped in a future that might no longer exist. And sometimes, in the corner of his eye, he saw a shimmer, like ink on impossible paper, hinting that the Order wasn't gone, just waiting.